Welcome back to the Out of the Rough podcast presented by We Know Fantasy. As always, my name is Nate with We Know Fantasy, and joining me as always is my co-host Jake. Jake, how we doing today?
Nate, we're doing good. Congrats to Scotty. No, not much more to say there. Dominant win, good for him. Just boring golf. Didn't make for any fun on Sunday, so didn't feel the need to just lock on to golf, which is kind of sad for a major championship, but good on him. Definitely outplayed Rory, who a lot of people thought would be in a better position to win this tournament compared to Scotty. So there's that. But I mentioned to you before we hopped on this podcast, Davis Riley. I'm jumping the gun a little bit here. Davis Riley beat Scotty Scheffler by almost a touchdown at this event last year. I see a lot of chatter on Twitter about the without Scotty market or just single bulleting Scotty. If you're going to single bullet Scotty, all the power to you. Playing the without Scotty market, I just think is stupid. I think this tournament is much more of a toss up.
Yeah, you got to think about this. The PGA Championship, it was, of course, Scotty ran away with at the end, but up until the final nine holes, it was John Rahm tied for the lead before he absolutely annihilated himself. Yeah, I think he finished like
Yeah.
T13th or something. Absolutely devastation. But yeah, it was fun until then. John Rahm made a charge, then blew things up, and Scotty walked himself to his third major title, his first non-Masters major title. So congrats to him. And yeah, so I want to go on a little tangent here about what I saw on golf Twitter. After Scotty won another major, and we got to step ourselves away from the betting side of things at some point, right? We all want to make money. We all want to hit those outrights. We all want to, keep our bankroll going, but we do need to take a step back and realize what we're witnessing right here.
Yeah.
This is a golfer that we're not going to see the level of dominance probably once he's gone in our lifetime. For us, we've luckily rolled ourselves essentially from Tiger Woods. If at our age, Jake, we
Yeah.
saw Tiger Woods, and then now we're seeing Scotty Scheffler. Very good chance we won't see anyone of this level of this standard in our lifetimes after this. What we're witnessing is the start of, the man's what, 28 years old, three majors, 13, more than that, 13 maybe PGA Tour victories in the last 3 years. He's only been on tour for, it's not been that long, and his pure dominance has only began back in 2023 at the WM Phoenix Open. Like, we're just getting started, and he's already lapping the fields in majors. I think he's won each of his three majors by three or more strokes. Absolutely dominating things. So just want to put this disclaimer, I guess, PSA out of here. Like, if you're
Yeah.
doing this to make money and all of that, good for you, right? You also need to enjoy the product that you're investing all this time and effort into viewing. And with that comes someone like Scotty Scheffler. It's going to be cool when you're outright takes down Scotty Scheffler at maybe this week, right? Goes down to the final hole and he wins. Awesome celebration. But we need to take ourselves step back as just golf fans, as sports fans, for what we're witnessing here because it's special and it's going to be around for a very long time. Scotty Scheffler is going nowhere anytime soon. So yeah, that's my just quick little tangent before hopping the podcast.
Yep.
Yeah, and going to your same topic about the without Scotty market. On paper, it seems like a good idea, right? Because Scotty Scheffler is so dominant. I just talked about that. But you have to realize if you're playing that, you're going to be suspect to uh, dead heat ties. So if you have, someone at 50 to 1 who plays second, but it's a four-way tie, you're splitting that 54 ways and all your value is gone. Then you're what? Doubling your money. Sure, it's good because your money's back, but in the grand scheme of what you're doing each and every week with an established bankroll and all of that, it's not a good value to be in. Let Scotty beat you unless you want a single bullet Scotty. If you really think Scotty's going to win this,
Yeah.
single bullet Scotty. Put all of your bankroll this week on Scotty Scheffler if you're going to play that without Scotty Market. But if you're playing it without Scotty Market, there's something in your head telling you he may not win this event. So then just play the outright market because the value is so much better because you take Scotty Scheffler out of this field. You're being headlined by Tommy Fleetwood and Maverick McNeely. It's not an incredible field by any aspect.
Right.
So keep him in there, either single bull him or don't. Simple enough.
Right. Yeah, 100% agree with you. And if you're really, really being that conservative, you could just bet Scotty to cover your outrights on the other guys. If you really think he's going to
Mhm.
win, it leaves you a little exposed because you're putting some more money on out there than you normally would. But at the same time, if you want to do that, you're kind of creating your own without Scotty market.
Yeah, in the same aspect. Again, I don't touch the without Scotty market. It doesn't
Yeah.
even cross my mind. I have my value, my whatever. Anyways, quick little tangent there. Do need to give a
Yep.
shout out to our guy Andrew at All Tour Bets. Although I did not hit the PGA Tour winner with Scotty Scheffler there, did hit SH Kim on the Corn Ferry Tour. And as Andrew said all week, all winners pay the same.
Yep.
So no matter if it was the random Advent Health Championship of the Corn Ferry Tour, the same week the PGA Championship, a winner there gets us positive in the bankroll of the Corn Ferry Tour. So absolute huge shout out to him. That's so all of us now at We Know Fantasy, since I know Andrew and Craig have been newer to the team, have all tipped an outright within the first 2 months of being part of the team. So shout out to everyone here. We're making money left and right. So let's keep it going here, Jake. Where can people find you on social media?
Yep, you can find me at DJ Friedman on Twitter. I'll be posting my outright cards there. But if you're looking for some early plays that I've already posted, exclusive content, first round leaders, matchups, all that fun stuff, be sure to join our Discord. Completely free to join. Just be sure to message Nate or myself. We can get you the link to join. I think we're coming up on 300 members now. People who do this professionally, just for fun, just love the sport of golf. It's a great community, a group chat that goes all hours of the night, some good, fun banter in there and some also really great information. I don't know about you, Nate, but some tidbits that are tossed in there, I actually account for in my model and my outright plays and my matchup plays and really everything. So, if you have a good source, I'm willing to listen and use it to our advantage. So, again, completely free, no hidden paywalls. Be sure to join.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we do this a lot. We've been doing this for many years, and there's still information I miss from week to week, especially when there's three events going on and there's been changes to a golf course that maybe I just didn't do complete research for. That type of information is what I get from the Discord. Someone being like, "Hey, Nate, did you see that, hole 17 was actually, elongated by 25 yards and they, you know, added a stream to the left or something like that."
Yeah.
Absolutely insane. We had a slew of members join after the PJ Championship. I think someone gave us a shout out, and we got about a dozen or maybe 2 dozen members after that. But yeah, guys, free tool at your fingertips. There's really no reason not to be in there. You might as well join it, even if you want to mute things and then just check out everything else. A few things we do on there. Uh, the community wager tracker each week. Everyone can post their wagers in the community wagers. I compile all of them for all the tours we cover at We Know Fantasy and Out of the Rough, put them in one giant list. So that way we can help each other across the finish line. We know who not to talk about in the event of a jinx, things like that. Just another aspect of what we do there that, maybe incentivize. You think I'd learn to talk at some point in my life, but I've only been speaking English for 30 years, 31 years. Still haven't mastered it. We'll get there someday, Jake. But yes, we have all of that for you. So be sure to check it out. Follow myself, Nate, on Twitter at WKF Be sure to follow We Know Fantasy on all forms of social media at We Know Fantasy. Be sure to visit WeKnowFantasy.com for some more fantasy sports content, fantasy baseball, basketball, football, NASCAR, golf, everything in between we have you covered. On there, my Out of the Rough Golf Betting article series each and every week of the PGA Tour, DP World Tour, and LPGA majors. My DFS full DFS breakdowns for PGA Tour on there, where I really go in depth each week about all those tours there. Full betting cards, blah blah blah, everything you need to know about that. Also, you can find Craig Thompson's LPJ and sometimes LET, Ladies European Tour content on there. I know he's taking a little bit of a hiatus right now while he works on something for himself that will be revealed in about a month's time. Big news coming his way, so be sure to check him out as well. And in the event he does post an LET or a LPJ card, he is the most knowledgeable person in the ladies' side of golf I've ever met. So be sure to follow him. He's tipped a few winners already since joining us about 2 months back. I talked about it already. All tour golf bets. Andrew there doing Corn Ferry and Challenge Tour content for us at WeKnowFans.com. Just tipped SH Kim there to win. I feel like there's more coming out of Andrew.
Yeah.
I talked about it today with him on Twitter. He was waiting on a little bit more information about the Challenge Tour course. When like the PGA Tour or the DP World Tour have a new course, I struggle sometimes to find information about those courses. I'm not sure how or where he's finding this information about these new courses on the Hotel Planner Tour. It's insane what he does come up with. So be sure to check him out because it's absolutely insane. And again, last week 3-man card hits an outright, like insane stuff that way. So yeah, I think that's it. Let's hop into this week's uh, golf tournament, Jake. It is the Charles Schwab Challenge. at the Colonial Country Club. And Jake, this is an event I would like to see in consideration for the signature event. I know the schedules don't really allow, but the Colonial Country Club is one of the most historic golf courses the PGA Tour has to offer. The second longest standing annual host on the PGA Tour to only Augusta National. It has a ton of history along the way. The Wall of Champion chips adjacent to the first tee. You have, um, it's been in existence since 1946, 78 years held at the same golf course. Of course, back in 2020, this was the quote unquote return to golf after the COVID-19 hiatus. We have, nicknamed Hogan's Alley because Ben Hogan won here 5 times. It's been around for such a long time. It is a unique and a golf course and an event I do enjoy. I think because of longevity and how long it's been on the PGA Tour, and I don't know if the signature event should be the same events every single year. I like to see them moved around, and I think this should be in consideration for one of them in the future if they were to, move away from somewhere else. But again, I'm sure sponsorship and all that has a lot to do with how they're coming up with $20 million purses, anyways. But yeah, so the field this week, it's nothing really special. Of course, Scotty Scheffler's here this week, but again, we're playing in essentially his backyard. He can stay at home, hang out with Bennett and his wife, and still make it to his tee times just fine here at this golf course. He'll be joined by Hideki Matsuyama, Maverick Neely, Tommy Fleetwood, Robert McIntyre, Brian Harman, and Daniel Berger as golfers were ranked within the top 25 of the OWGR. Going to be honest with you, Jake, I've not looked at withdrawals to know if any of those guys have withdrawn at this point.
I don't think they have.
Okay. And all 20 golfers ranked in the top 50 of the OWGR will be in attendance this week. Again, did not check withdrawals, so it might be in 19 or 18. I'm sure one of those has withdrawn at this point. And you mentioned it, Davis Riley comes in the defending champion. Dominated this event a season ago as he won by 5 strokes over, Scotty Scheffler and Ryder Cup captain Keegan Bradley. So a lot of firepower right behind big old Davis Riley, who had a fantastic week last week as well. Other former winners of the week of this event team this week include Emiliano Grillo in 2023, Daniel Berger, he'll be a big heavy tipster this week in 2020, Kevin Kistner in 2017, Jordan Spieth in 16, Chris Kirk in 2015, and Zach Johnson in 2012 and 2010. So this golf course is described as a quintessential tree line positional course that does not require distance off the tee to be competitive. Par 70 at 7,200 yards. We've seen recent renovations following 2023 playing here and prior to last season's playing. The goal of this restoration, headlined by uh, Gil Hans and Jim Wagner, was to restore Colonial Country Club to its original state, which we're seeing at all these golf courses around the world. These restorations are an attempt to restore, I guess, restoration, that's what you're doing in restoration, geez, is bringing these golf courses back to how they were when it opened in 1941. Along the way, still modernizing it, right? New irrigation systems, new strands of grass to better withstand wherever these golf courses are, adding some distance here or there. But really, uh, you know, just bringing it back to its original glory. It is originally a Perry Maxwell and John Bermudas design, borders the nearby Trinity River, and features 12 dog legs into smaller bent grass greens. Again, we've seen a diverse cast of winners at this golf course. I talk about the positional accuracy off the tee really is what you want to look for here, but we've seen the likes of like Sam Burns and Jason Kokrak win here with just bombing it off the tee and gouging it out of the rough. There are ways to attack this golf course. We talk about this each and every week. We come up with these models, these stats that fit each golf course, and there's an exception to the rules, and someone comes out of left field and wins doing what you shouldn't do at these golf courses. But that's the PGA Tour for you. Scoring average here has pushed beyond -15 just twice since 2011, so a challenging golf course along the way. Again, some of the lowest driving accuracy on tour, just 57% hit fairways. It's and with all these dog legs, forced layups, all of that, one of the lowest average driving distances on the PGA Tour as well. I think maybe even second to just the RPC Heritage over there. Yeah, you're going to need 25% of approach shots coming from 150 to 175. A lot of them are 125 to 200. 12 on the stip meter on these greens, blah, blah, blah. A lot of information here at this golf course. Do need to mention the horrible horseshoe here, though, at this golf course features 3, 4, and 5 holes, that is, are played at half a stroke over par annually. This is the deciding factor of this golf course. Usually, a lot of these golf courses, these big stretches or these, challenging stretches of holes are usually like right in the middle or towards the end. You're going to start off with this so that you can really derail your round really quickly, or you're going to have a chance to rebound and gain some strokes on the field after the horrible horseshoe. So it's an interesting layout in that aspect. But yeah, if you're looking for more breakdown of this golf course, I have a lot of information about it on Fantasy.com. Again, it's a golf course that's been around for a very long time. Nothing new here. Jake, anything to add?
No, I think you covered it well. This is going to be a winning score of possibly single digits if it's playing difficult, or low teens if it's playing easy. So, if you're one of those people that are just not into Birdie Fest, you are going to definitely want to tune in this week. And like you mentioned before, I think this would be a really interesting host for a US Open. I think it's hosted a way, way, way time ago. But I think instead of just the bomb and gouge US Open, which we've seen, in recent history, this is more of a plodding, difficult US Open venue that I think would be a lot of fun if they brought it back this year. But I will stand on the ground that I hated Quail Hollow because it was a regular tour event stop. So I don't know if I'd love it as a major,
Yeah.
but I think it is best suited for like a US Open.
I would love to see US Open going back to a course like that, opposed to just a 7,800 yard, 7,700 yard, monster where if you're, below 300 off the tee, you just don't have a chance whatsoever. A stat I do want to mention before we move forward here, Jake, is that 7 of the last 10 winners have had a T10 or better within 3 starts within the last 3 years of winning. I don't know if I made sense there. But like Davis Riley, he won last year, but had a top 10 within 3 years of doing so. Emiliano Grillo the same way the year prior. And yeah, so 7 of the last 10 have done that. And of course, we're in Texas, so Texas wins all will be a factor here this week. Excuse me.
Definitely.
Yeah, like you mentioned, if the wins are to be a factor, it's going to be high single digits under par for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Jake, I have a slew of people, 7 of them to talk about today.
I added one since I gave you a number, so I'm up to
Okay.
six.
All right, I guess I'll kick things off. I'm going to go with JT Poston, 40 to 1 is where I'm starting my card. So again, I have a lot of names in the card, but a lot of long shots starting 40 to 1 allows me to do that. Poston had a great performance last week, fifth in the PGA Championship, marking his best finish in a major championship by far. Beyond that, great golf, 23rd at the Truist, 18th at Zurich Classic, 11th at the RPC Heritage, 42nd at the Masters, 26th at the Valero, 20th at Valspar, and 33rd at the Players. Of golfers with at least 10 starts in the season, Poston has the 16th best average finishing placement. He is also has had some quality performances at this event of the last 5 years. He missed the cut in 2021 and 2023, but placed 12th here a season ago and 10th in 2020. He's currently 15th on tour in strokes gained putting bent grass. He's 26th in driving accuracy, 43rd around the green, 45th tee to green, 58th approach. The list goes on and on here. Really like JT Poston. I think he's in a great spot. The confidence is going to be at an all-time high after last week's PGA Championship. I know he's a North Carolina guy, which was part of the story with his performance at Quail Hollow. But he has played this event well, has played some Texas golf decent this season. I think he's just riding high at 40 to 1. If it's not be Scotty Scheffler, this field's kind of wide open. You got a Hideki Matsuyama kind of there who kind of hits like cruise control when it comes to these non-major, non-big events. Tommy Fleetwood hasn't won the PGA Tour ever, and names around them. So I think JD Poston has a real shot this week.
Yeah, this is one of the guys that I have on my short list to add at the top of the board. I played a lot of long shots, so similar to you, it's just a lot of value here. But Poston was super interesting to me, popping with the putter as of recent. He's gained over a stroke per round in 3 of his last 4 with the flat stick. Iron started to come around. He gained a stroke and a half with those per round last week, but has been in the green in 4 of his last 5. Extremely accurate off the tee. He checks all the boxes for me, and I think 40 to 1 is a really fair number on him.
Yeah, for sure. I was really excited when I saw that number, and yeah. So let's roll right into your first play here, Jake.
Yeah, I'm way down the board here. I got Ryan Gerard at 85 to 1. I think he's just playing too well this
Hmm.
season to not win. And like we've mentioned already, take Scotty out of the field and it's a little bit of a weaker event. So I think that he's really live to win. I think he has 4 top 15 finishes in his last like 7 or 8 starts. So really peppering the top of the leaderboard. What I like about him is that he's extremely well rounded. We've been preaching accuracy off the tee, but he also carries some distance, so he's really good off the tee. Just in general, gaining strokes there. The irons could get really scorching hot, and the short game also tends to pop. He's really good around the green. The putter is a little bit hit or miss. I'm willing to take my chance on him at 85 to 1. I think he is going to win at some point this season. I think this is a good shot.
Yeah, a guy I've been on a few times myself, really high on Ryan Gerard. Play him in DFS quite often because he pops, seems to be every single week. Really love to play. Great value too at 85 to 1. Absolutely love that play. Oh, my mouse died on me here. Well, gotta go back to my sheet. All right, so after my JT post and play, I'm going to stay around a similar number and go with Aaron Rye at 45 to 1. Fantastic, fantastic value in this field, in my opinion. Fits exactly what we need to do this week. Currently first on tour in driving accuracy. He's eighth in par four performance, 16th green regulations. He's 20th on approach, 21st tee to green, 89th approximate hole from 150 to 175, and 125 to 200. When it comes to Aaron Wright, the putter, we saw towards the end of last season where the putting was very good for him and he went on to win on the PGA Tour for the first time. We'll hope for that again this week. It's right around even in terms of, I guess, medium on the PGA Tour when it comes to strokes gained putting in bent grass. Do like that here this week. He placed 19th last week at the PGA Championship, 23rd at the Truist, 18th at Zurich, 38th at the RPC Heritage, 27th at Masters, 14th Players, 11th API, 4th in Mexico. I mean, the list goes on and on with great performances out of Aaron Rai. Average and finishing placement, he's 15th on tour of golfers with at least 10 starts. He made the cut at this event each of the last three seasons, 32nd last year, 12th in 2023, and 68th in 2022. When we talk about, these golf courses, positional golf courses, Aaron Rai is going to come to your mind instantly. And at 45 to 1, had to put him on the betting card. I think he's done 35 or even 30 on some books.
Yep. Yeah. He was on my short list. I was really hoping to get a 40 because by the time I looked, even that was gone. So it doesn't look like I'm going to get to Riot at 35. But like you said, I to me, my short list also included Daniel Berger. And I think Rye and Berger are extremely similar players, but you're getting Rye at double the price. What it's going to come down to for both of those guys is just making putts, which again is a little scary. But I think
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting Rye at almost double the price, so it feels like a no-brainer to go to him versus Berger, in my opinion. So yeah, I like the call, love the number, wish I was there with you, but just number's gone, can't do it.
All right. Well, let's keep it going then with your long shots, Jake.
Yep. Now over 100 to 1 for my next five guys here. So if you're looking for some money, potential money makers, here we go. I got Bud Cauley at 110 to 1, another guy who's just been playing some really good golf this year, similar to Gerard. Very poppy, right? He's kind of tapered off a little bit recently, but he did make the cut last week at the PGA Championship, which I was, happy to see. He's made six cuts in a row. That includes three top tens in a row between the Players, the Valspar, and the Valero Texas Open. Um, Again, just scattered, but really well rounded. Can really pop with the irons. Very solid off the tee. Gains very consistently there, and also a pretty consistent good putter. I know it's been a while since we've talked about Bud Cauley's name, before this season, but at Colonial in his career, he has a 29th back in 2020, a 41st in 2017, a 21st in 2014, and a T14 in 2013. So he does have a little bit of course history, even though we're talking almost a decade ago. So I thought 110 to 1 was a good number for me to, shoot my shot.
Yeah, a guy that's been, on anyone and everyone's betting card at least once this season because he's been playing so extremely well. It's another one of those good stories of the PGA Tour this season and how well he has been playing. I'll just use this as a transition to my next play, and it's kind of one of the same way. It's Michael Kim at 60 to 1. So I previously mentioned this, Jake. Seven of the last 10 winners at this event have a top 10 within 3 years of winning. Michael Kim fits that mold, placing sixth in 2023. He missed a cut here a season ago, but is having one of the best careers of his career. I think he's a two-time winner of the PGA Tour even, but he's having a consistently really well season. As of late, he's kind of come back to earth, but there's a reported back injury along the way there, citing that with withdrawal 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, maybe even 3 weeks at this point. So early this season, he was in really good form. Second at the WM Phoenix Open, 13th in Mexico, sixth at Cognizant, fourth at the API. He's currently 10th on tour around the green, 19th tee to the green and scrambling, 22nd in par four performances, 50th on approach, 66th in strokes gained putting bent grass. Again, another guy who has been playing some insane golf this season, a littering of top five, littering of top tens. In a field like this, and he fits that, 7 of the last 10 winners having a top 10. Do love that for him. That's why he's on my betting card this week.
Yeah, it's one of those that I feel like we've been similar on our last couple picks here of just they've played really well this season. It's not that strong of a field minus Scotty Scheffler, so I think there's a lot of value baked into these people because of how well Scotty's played,
Yeah,
obviously the
for sure.
last 2 weeks.
For sure.
So I love the call there.
Yeah, having Scotty in this field, whatever you want to think about it, if he doesn't go on to win, you're getting insane value on anyone else because he's dominating the field at what, 2 to 1, 2.5 to 1.
Right.
All right, Jake, who's next?
Yeah, this is a guy that Nate, you've bet him a couple times this year. It's Ryo Hisatsune at 130
My
to
guy.
1. I just it's hard to even like put into words here. It just makes sense to me. This feels like a place that he could be very successful. He's accurate off the tee, very solid with the irons, and has a very solid short game. He also has had some really good finishes this year. A T4 at the Valspar, a T5 at the Valero Texas Open, followed by back-to-back T18s at the RBC Heritage, and then at the team event at the Zurich Classic. I don't know if the win is coming, but it feels like this is a good opportunity for Rio to play well and possibly get a PGA Tour win. He's won on the DP World Tour in 2023 at the Kazoo Open de France. He is a winner. He knows how to do it, and I think 130 is just a good number on him.
Oh, fantastic number. I mean, I've played him at, 100 to 1 plus several times this season for everything you just said. Just consistent, well-rounded. Even on golf courses that require distance, which he doesn't really have, he's been competitive. So love to play there. And frankly, I'm not sure why I'm not on him. No, so rolling forward here, 75 to 1 next play, Harry Hall, fourth on tour in par four performance, 13th around the green, 19th in strokes gained putting, bent grass, 27th in scrambling, 82nd tee to green. List goes on and on. He plays third here in 2023. So again, that trend I'm really following. All of my next picks will fit that trend since Michael Kim and on, really hammering that down. 7 out of 10, 70% fitting a stat is something that I'm gonna buy into, a trend,
Yeah.
may I say. Um, yeah, he missed a cut here a season ago, whatever. He has that third place finish a few seasons back or 2 seasons back. He placed 19th last week at the PGA Championship, strong performance there, 20th in Myrtle Beach, 33rd at the CJ Cup Byron Nelson, 49th at the Punta Cana Championship, 26th Valero, and 18th in Houston. Again, good performances, especially in Texas golf as well. A guy who can putt lights out if need to, a really strong around the green play. It'd be a matter if he can spike with those irons a little bit. He can get really wayward with them, and some of his approaches really get out of control. If he can tone that down here, get a few putts to fall his favor, I could see Harry Hall get his second PGA Tour victory.
Yeah, he is a short game wizard. He is such a good putter. So if he just finds himself in the fairways and putting the ball in the green, he is going to sink enough putts to win in a single digit to low teen winning
Yes.
event. So I like that call a lot.
Yeah, I think this is an event that someone, especially with a very good short game where you're not recording those bogeys, you're saving pars. Some of those pars will feel like birdies that you're saving at an event like this, and Harry Hall has a game to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's keep her going, Jake.
Yep. I'm going with Sammy Valimaki at 180 to 1. Again, I feel like a broken record here. Just has been playing incredible this season. Honestly, the best golf he's played
Hmm.
probably in his career. He is, I mean, I feel like I've seen him play a million golf tournaments between track and the DP World Tour. He's only 26, which is insane.
It
But
doesn't feel like it.
yeah, he feels like he's like 36. But anyway, he has been incredible with the putter. I am not concerned about his putter at all. The irons have also been terrific. The off the tee, if he could just teeter around even and not find himself in trouble off the tee, I think he's in a good position to win. He had a horrible week last week. He missed the cut. I think that's probably why the number is so big at 180 to 1. But again, he has four top 20 finishes in his last seven starts. That's good enough for me. Good enough form for to fire up 180 to 1 here.
For sure. A guy that we see, I mean, going back to Houston, he was in the mix there down the stretch. Guy who has played well recently in Texas, had to take that consideration as well, knowing how to handle these completely different event, right? I mean, there was a 20 some minus a 20 some winning score, but still, you're in Texas, still similar golf courses and similar weather conditions and all of that. So have to take that consideration as well. And love to play there, especially at a huge number like that.
Yep.
Next play for me, 110. I'm in the 100 plus finally here, Jake. My next three will be there. the sake of time, I'll kind of breeze through these guys. First one, Cam Davis. Cam Davis fits that trend again, seventh here in 2022. So he's also placed 56th here a season ago and 45th in 2021. Missed the cut in both 2023 and 2020, however. 19th last week in the PGA Championship. Love to see a top 20 in a major coming in. 54th of the Truist, not good there. 60th of the CJ Cup. Byron Nelson made the cut. 32nd of the Zurich Classic and 13th of the RPC Heritage. He's 29th on tour around the green, 55th approximately the hole from 150 to 175. He is 57th approximately the hole from 125 to 200, 93rd on approach. The putting and the scrambling is really what's going to get him in trouble here if he can kind of, get that to tone down. I mean, he had a real chance to win back at Pebble Beach if his putting and around the green work was up to par. We'll see how it comes in this week. He's really a guy that can get birdies if need be. I think he has a game that he can handle these low scoring affairs as well. We'll see how it comes down here, but he does have that, again, top 10 the last 3 years.
Yeah, it's an interesting call to me. I like it where, everyone's saying accuracy matters more. If for some reason this turns into a bomb and gouge, which, recent renovation, different conditions, if this turns into a bomb and gouge, Cam Davis is a great candidate to play really well here and potentially win. Like you said, he has had success here in recent history, so I think it's a good call.
I mean, again, exception to the rule, Sam Burns and Jason Kokrak, especially if Jason Kokrak went
Right.
in here. I mean, that could go to any direction.
Exactly.
All right, let's keep it rolling, Jake.
Yep. So my next play here is going to be no surprise to anyone. It's Henrik Norlander 180 to 1. So I do not need to talk too much about this because I talk about him every single week. It's an accuracy iron fest. If this guy could freaking putt, he will win, and I will not stop betting him, Nate. His around the green is also pretty abysmal, so hopefully he just finds himself on the greens and can make a couple putts to win here. He has some great finishes this year, a bunch of top 20s. He has one, two, three, four, five top 20s on the year, and then a T4 at the Zurich, which I didn't count in there. So I just think if he's going to win, it's going to be on a course that requires accuracy and irons, and this is one. So I can't stop Nate. I can't.
Yeah, I mean, he low key popped to my model, and I was considering it, but I was like, Jake's got this covered for, the out of the rough guys. Don't need to put my money there. I can't take the glory away from Jake if he does go on to win. I can't be on Henrik Norlander one time and cash a ticket. So I'll let Jake have that glory and bask in that. All right. So one of my favorite plays this week is Mark Hubbard at 170 to 1. He is 58th on tour in accuracy. He's 88th on approach, 95th approximately hole from 125 to 200, 102nd in stroke gain putting bent grass. You're noticing now the stats aren't phenomenal. So why am I so excited about it? Again, he placed fifth here in 2023, so top 10 last 3 years. 65th in 2024, 52nd in 2023, 66th, 60, or 69th in 2021, and 43rd in 2020. So made the cut here as well in the last 5 seasons. He placed seventh in his last outing at the One Flight Myrtle Beach Classic and fifth at the CJ Cup. Byron Nelson, again, back in Texas. Do love to see that. Also 12th at Putacana and 12th at American Express this season. Again, fits the mold, has played a top five in Texas as of late. So yeah, 171 for Mark Hubbard.
I didn't even, this guy didn't even cross my mind, but when I saw his recent form, I think I have to add him. He's been playing insane. And he fits that model of a T10 in his last 3 years here. I mean, it feels like a no-brainer long shot here to take.
There we go. You have one left, Jake?
Yes, I have one guy left, and it is my favorite play, which generally means that it is not going to go well.
Miscut coming.
Yep, and it's
Same with Mark
Brian.
Hubbard.
Yeah, Brian Campbell. I bet him at 300 to 1. Another book opened him at 450, so I double dipped there a little bit at some huge odds. I think that is just so disrespectful for a guy who's won on the PGA Tour this year, and he's been playing some really solid golf. He should not be discounted at all. He's made four of his last five cuts. He's been consistently gaining with the irons. He can pop with the putter. He's a very, very good putter, and he's extremely accurate off the tee. So I really love his game for Colonial. He has no driving distance whatsoever. Like this guy is probably one of the shortest out there, but he makes up for it by hitting fairways, having consistently good iron play. He's gained in five of his last five, and the putter he's gained nearly a stroke per round in three of his last five. So he could pop there. It just made a lot of sense. I think the number is extremely disrespectful. I really hope that he could do it for me because I have a very little bit of money to win a lot of money on him, but it just didn't make sense to me. I feel like that's a play that a lot of people should have on their card and should be talked about more.
Yeah, again, just a huge number for a guy who's won on the PGA Tour this season, and he won at an event where we all took driving distance into consideration, I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, again, huge number for a guy who's won recently. My final play here, a big number, 250 to 1 for Adam Schenk. I believe he won last season, did he not?
Let me
I
pull
could be,
this
I
up.
mean, who knows at this point? Everything just mashes
He
in my head.
did not win. He's not a PGA Tour winner. He
Well,
had a couple second place finishes in 2023.
okay. Well, either way, he's going to be a PGA Tour winner after this week. Again, runner up here in 2023. So, starting to say that anything else there. Recently missed the cut at Myrtle Beach, but he did place fifth at the CJ Cup Byron Nelson. Early season 25 in Phoenix, 25 in Farmers Insurance, and sixth at the Sony Open in Hawaii. He's 36th on tour in strokes and putting bent grass, so very good on bent. He's 37th in practicing the hole from 150 to 175, 66 in scrambling, 79 tee of the green. The concern, again, driving accuracy is 166, green regulations 162, approach around the green 129. The approach is 90th, so not too bad. But again, 250 to 1 for a guy with a runner up here in the last three seasons. That's basically it
Yeah, and he has a T5 in his last three starts too, so
that as
maybe that
well.
combination can do some wonders for you, Nate.
Yeah, that's a little money to win a lot of money there. So would
Exactly.
appreciate that. Would appreciate that. But all right, guys, that's it for the Charles Schwab Challenge. Too bad Matthias Schwab is not in this week's field. Remember in like 2022 or 2023 he was, but he's also extremely bad on the DP World Tour this season. So there's that. Jake, anything to add before we move forward?
No, I think we covered it.
Here we go. We are back on the DP World Tour, and I mean they were off for 1 week for the PGA Tour, so it wasn't like it was anything crazy. Coming off I think you hit the winner the last time, the Turkish Airline Open, and I
Yep.
hit the winner the week before that with Marco Page at the Hainan Classic, not the week before, but the event
Let's stay
prior.
hot.
So 2 for 2, the DP World Tour is late. So let's make it 3 for 3 at the Pseudo Open, where last season I hit Nacho Elvira here at 100 to 1. So I'd like to do that again with 100 plus one to win. This is the what are we? The fourth consecutive season since the return to Belgium here for typical stroke play. This event was like a weird combination of a stroke play, match play hybrid, the Belgian knockout, it was known from 2018 for a few seasons along the way. But again, all of that was still played here at the Rinfin International along the way. So the field this week with a handful of the tour's best competing in the PGA Championship last season. Some of them won't be here, some of them will be. It's interesting because there was U.S. Open qualifying happening today. So a lot of golf being played by a lot of these guys along the way. But what we do have is, again, Nacho Oliveira is back to defend his title. He will be joined by runner-ups of a season ago, Thomas Peters of the Live Golf Tour, of also a Belgium native. He will be back this week as well. Romain Lançois was a runner-up a season ago, back this week, and Simon Forstrom was the winner in 2023 and will be back as well. Guido Migluzzi and Adrian Otagwe were the two victors of the former Belgian knockout. We'll be playing this week as well, also at this golf course, which is the Rinfen International Golf Club in Antwerp, and it plays host to the Sudo Open for the fourth consecutive season. Plays on the shorter side in terms of DP World Tour venues at 6,900, 6,924, essentially par 71. Was in existence in the early 1980s. It was originally designed by Belgian golfer and coach Paul Roland. Since the course has undergone a series of changes and was expanded to two 18-hole courses, the North and South. This week's event will be a composite of both of those courses. The course is described as a wonderful, peaceful area of nature with a mixture of woodland and parkland holes, with water coming into play on several holes, per the venue's website. Getting off the tee with distance won't be of the utmost importance this week, as many of the holes will force layups. The fairways, although flat and exposed, are tight and tree lined. Oftentimes, golfers will be taking irons off the tee. So when it comes to the long line of defenses this golf course has to offer, it also offers smaller than average bent grass greens. This is an accuracy-based golf course, and so with that, of course, approach will be important. Scrambling too will be the most important with these smaller than normal bent grass greens and forced layups. Being able to salvage par to keep pace will be crucial. The par 5 fifth here at Rincon plays as the easiest hole on the golf course, but is followed immediately by a very tough stretch. Hole 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 ranked as the fourth, fifth, 14th, second, and first in terms of toughness annually. So in all, this is a much different golf course than what we're typically seeing on the DP World Tour. An exciting one that made for an interesting golf event a season ago. And we'll see what this season has in store for us, Jake. Anything to add before we move forward?
No, I think you covered it all.
There we go. So I have five guys here on my card, I believe. Jake, how many you have?
I have three, but I'm going to talk about four because I'm going to bet this guy after.
All right. So I'll kick things off here again with a guy that I've blacklisted. I said I would never bet before, and here we are. And this happens often when it comes to betting. And that's Josh Luton, 35 to 1. I think there's some value. He's been down to like the 20s, low 20s as of late. And with that, I wasn't going to touch Josh Luton. But here we are at 35 to 1. He is currently third on tour in tee to green. He's fifth on approach, sixth in green regulation. He's 12th in accuracy, 15th in bogey avoidance, 22nd in birdie or better, 58th in scrambling, 129th in stroke gain putting. That stat there, stroke gain putting, and his short game is abysmal. That's what keeps Josh Luton on the DP World Tour for so long. But he gained 1.13 strokes putting across 4 rounds in his last outing. Again, the short game will be what keeps him in check. If he can get anything to roll in his favor around the greens or on the greens, he will be in contention as he has of late. Missed the cut the Hainan Classic, but prior to that, 14th of Volvo China Open. He was fifth last week or last outing at the Turkish Airlines Open as well. Third in India, 36th in Singapore, 42nd at Joburg, 11th at the South African Open. Played here last year, missed the cut. He also missed the cut in 2022, but insane form matches up extremely well statistically. So 35 to 1, Josh Luton. I will probably be eating my words since I went back to the man who has caused me so much heartache in the last 4 years I've been at the DP World Tour.
Nate, I think you covered him well. I don't have too much to add there. I think it's a juicy number, but it's Josh Luton.
There we go. Let's just move on, Jake.
So my first play here, I'm going 50 to 1. Jorge Campillo. I assume he's going to be really popular this week. Coming off of a T2 last week at the Turkish Airlines Open, he kind of just brings the game that I want to see at the Sudal Open. He had a T15 here back in 2022, missed the cut in 2023, but just coming off of some solid form, I think it looks like he's made like 8 of his last 9 cuts, extremely well rounded, brings a very strong off the tee game, which is what I like to see, and can also just make putts if you need him to. So just a well-rounded guy on some good form who's played well here. Just taking my chance.
And I think that's exactly what you need for this golf course. I don't think anyone's going to come in here and overpower things. I think you just need to find a consistent guy who does each and everything somewhat well. And again, that's what I was my approach. And Nacho Vera got across the finish line a season ago and doing just that, came in with decent form. And it's not like Nacho Vera is exciting in any nature of statistically speaking. So I do love to play. And again, uh, fellow countryman of Vera. So could be something there with Spaniards here in Belgium.
Yeah.
All right, keep it rolling here for one of the guys I bet quite often. That's Brandon Robinson Thompson, down to 65 to 1. Juicy, juicy number. Bounced back from consecutive missed cuts at the Volvo China Open and the Hainan Classic with a fourth place finish at the Turkish Airlines Open. Prior to those missed cuts, 17th in India, 20th at Singapore, 7th at Joburg, 41st in Kenya, 3rd in Qatar, and 8th in Bahrain. Currently 12th on tour in green regulations. He's 22nd in bogey avoidance. He's 28th tee to green and putting. 29th scrambling, 33rd on approach, 36th in accuracy, 61st in birdie or better. So extremely, extremely strong approach numbers with a very strong putter. I think it's a matter of time before this guy wins in the DP World Tour. He's been flirting for the last season and a half. I really, really like this guy as it's proven. I've been betting him each and every week since the last 2 months in the DP World Tour. He's going to get across the finish line sooner rather than later. So 65 to 1 was a juicy, juicy number. And as much as I kind of want to spread the wealth and not bet the same guys in the DP World Tour, they keep giving me value. So I'm going back to BRT.
Yeah, I was just gonna say he's bound to win very soon. It would not surprise me if he does it this week. I think there's a lot of meat on that bone at that number. It's definitely interesting to me. I'm gonna look into it a little bit more after our show, but yeah, I really like that shout. I think that he's very live and is due to win very soon.
I'm not sure what it is about this field, but there's a lot of juicy numbers out there for some of these guys. There's a ton of value across the board. I'm not sure where it stands after things opened early this morning on Monday as we record this, but man, a lot of great value across the board.
Yeah, and I'm just going to go right into my next
Yeah.
play. I think this guy has a ton of value here. It's Jaden Shaper at 60 to 1.
Oh yeah.
He's
Yep.
just been playing some awesome golf this year. Another guy that I've circled that he's going to win very soon, it feels like. And I think that this course is a place for him to do it. Another steady Eddie guy, very accurate off the tee. Not flashy anywhere else really, but doesn't really kill him, doesn't really shoot himself in the foot for lack of better terms there. Has a bunch of top 10s this year, top 25s, just peppering the top of leaderboards. I think he's going to cross the finish line sooner rather than later, and I think 60 to 1 is a juicy number to take my shot there.
Yeah, he was the first guy off my list. He was shortlisted for sure. Had a, insane start to the season. Like there was a stretch where he was top 5 or top 10 every single week for about a month there. So I do love to play. He does what you want here for this golf course. No doubt about that. All right, so it should be no one's surprise who my next play is. After BRT, we're going back to Jacob Skalvolas, and I cannot get away from this kid. 80 to 1. Again, that is insane value for what he's been doing this season. Currently 16th on tour in bogey avoidance. He's 24th tee to green, 25th green regulations, 29th in accuracy, 31st in scrambling, 32nd approach, 64th putting, 88th birdie or better. He placed 12th in his last outing at Turkey. He did miss the cut at the Hanen Classic, but again, that's kind of a weird event because it's right, although in the same country as the week prior, the Volvo China Open, it was about 12 to 14 hours apart, like a huge time difference in terms of travel. But yeah, it was an odd event. A lot of these guys had missed the cut of the Hanen Classic. It was really off. Either way, prior to that, eighth in China, seventh in Joburg, 13th in Kenya, also ninth in Marathas early this season, littering those top tens left and right, and he's going to win the DP World Tour sooner rather than later. You're going to keep giving me 70, 75, 80 on Jacob Skalvalasa. I'm going back to that number every single week because he is bound to win. He is going to be one of those next, Danish stars making themselves on the PGA Tour probably by next season the way he's playing.
Yep, I'm there with you. I think the number is absolutely
Insane.
insane. I don't really know what the books are doing here. Maybe they know something that we don't.
Yeah.
But it feels like he's ready to win, right? He's peppering the top of these leaderboards. That's a very important thing to me when I make my DP World Tour bets. It's very rare that these guys come from no form whatsoever and just win. It does happen,
Yes.
but a lot of these guys are just form plays, and Skov Olsen at 80 to 1 just felt ridiculous to me and a no-brainer.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So I guess we had a crossover there. I'll roll to my next guy. I have two more here, both 100 to 1. First one being Matthew Southgate. He did miss the cut here a season ago, but he placed fourth in 2023. He's currently seventh in tour in bogey avoidance. He's eighth in scrambling, 10th in accuracy, 16th in regulations, 36th on approach, 51st to the green, 57th putting. Like most of those we talked about already, I talked about this already. He missed the cut at the Hanen Classic, but part of that, he was fifth in his last outing at the Turkish Airlines Open. He's also 22nd in Marathas, 11th in the Alfred Dunhill, 20th in the Australian Open, and 15th at the Australian PGA Championship. Great performances. A guy, if this golf course is to play like it did last season, positional golf course, this is his MO. 100 to 1 for a guy who also placed fourth here 2 seasons ago. Love the value, and we'll see what comes with it.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout, and I think there's a lot of meat on that bone.
There we go. All right.
Yep.
What's your next play?
Yep. So moving into my last play here, I've got Eduardo Molinari. I've
That's
bet
my
him the
my
last
last
couple
play
weeks.
as well. So
Oh, beautiful.
perfect.
You got him at 100?
Yep.
That's an insane number. I got 80 and thought that was crazy. So 100 is even more awesome. But this guy's just been playing some insane golf. He's not a young guy
No.
by any means of it. I think he's approaching 45.
Yeah.
But like you've said, if this plays as a positional golf course, he hits a ton of fairways, and his game is just in a great spot right now. A ninth at the Hero India Open, a T36 at the Volvo China Open, T6 at the Hainan Classic, and then a T24 at the Turkish Airlines Open. Another guy just peppering the top of the leaderboards. I think that this is a really good spot for him to break through and get a win here. He's a three-time DP World Tour champion, so if he does find himself in contention on Sunday, I do trust him, which is, I might be eating my words there, but I trust him more than some other guys on the DP World Tour to get across the finish line and know what it takes to win.
Yeah. Looking back here, the last two winners of this event, Simon Fortune was what, 34 when he did it. I think Nacho Vera was 37th or 38th. So it seems to be a golf course where, some of these veterans of the tour have been finding success. And again, with positional golf courses, you do see a lot of the experience coming out when it comes to these guys. And, Molinari is definitely that. He's been around for a very long time, has played on the DP World Tour for quite some time. And yeah, everything you said about him, what I love about him, he's first on tour in accuracy, he's second in putting and fourth in bogey avoidance, sixth in scrambling. So he doesn't make mistakes. He's been putting better than anyone on this tour. And again, if it's low scoring, it comes down to making a few putts down the stretch. I trust Molinari more than anyone on the DP World Tour. So 100 to 1, smash that number every day of the week.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of these guys we've talked about this week, Molinari for me, Alassan, BRT, they were all playing in the qualifying today. 2 rounds for US Open qualifying. So if that's something to, a little concerned about, maybe look elsewhere. But again, half this field or anyone that you think would have true value to win was probably playing this Monday. So
Yeah.
take that as a grain of salt. We see it all the time with people playing themselves into PJ Tour events and then competing deep into the week. It happens all the time, right? So I don't think there's much concern there.
Yeah, I actually kind of like it. It gets the competitive juices flowing early for them in the week, and that way, Thursday, it's not necessarily a bit of a snooze. They're already in the right mindset to just take off and have good rounds.
Yeah, and I mean, there's obviously some spots in the U.S. Open designated for DP World Tour guys. So if you fall short in your qualifier and you go on to win this event, that puts yourselves in a position where maybe you could get on an automatic bid that way. So maybe, like, as you mentioned, the competitive juice is flowing, and there's other ways to get into that U.S. Open.
Yeah.
Well, all right, Jake, that's it for this week. We move on next week. What is next week? The Memorial?
Next week is the Procore Championship.
The what now?
Oh wait, no. Hang on. I was in the wrong spot. That was like the beginning of the year.
I was gonna
Memorial,
say the
you're
Procore.
correct.
That's in the fall swing. Yeah,
Yeah, that was
Memorial.
horrible.
Yeah. So we
Memorial
got
and then RBC Canadian Open.
Yep, then it's US Open. Then it's US Open, baby. We're right there in the DP World Tour again. Someday, guys. Someday we're
I
going to
can't believe I just
Austria.
said the Procore. That was the first
Yeah.
event of the season.
Yeah, we're in Austria next week. And then the Dutch Open, of course, US Open to follow for all the tours involved. But yeah, guys, that's it for this week's podcast. Be sure to check us out everywhere. Jake, where do you find you on social media?
Yep, you can find me at DJ Freeman on Twitter. I know I had a bunch of guys that I said that I was thinking about betting. If you're interested in seeing my final card, it'll be posted there. It'll also be posted in our Discord, completely free to join. There's a bunch of exclusive content that Nate and I put in there. Matchups have been really treating me well this year. I've got my Excel sheet up right now. I'm up about 15 units on matchups this year, so that's all exclusive content in our Discord. Nate's hit a couple first round leaders in there. So there's extra money to be made at completely free at your fingertips. Be sure to reach out to Nate or myself for that link so we can get you in and keep the bots out.
Yeah, forewarning, those first round leaders did come early the season. When I say early, it was Tom Hoagie 65 to 1 the first week, and then I hit Harry Hall with a split for like 45 in Mexico. But yeah, I mean, again, that's money that was made just because of that. But like my live card exclusive to the DP World Tour, if I were to deviate or say away from um Craig or Andrew, I'd post those exclusive there. I typically don't because again, those guys know more than me about those tours, and why do I deviate away from what they say? If it is, it's adding Aaron Wise to the Corn Ferry Tour wherever he plays. Um, but yeah, you can follow myself Nate on Twitter at WKF Nate. Be sure to follow We Know Fantasy on all forms of social media at We Know Fantasy. Be sure to visit We Know Fantasy Conference for more fantasy sports content. Until next time, guys, we'll see you.